Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another mildly interesting video. If you know anything about Quentin Tarantino, you probably already know that he was going to retire after his 10th film, which is basically his next film. But what he didn't tell us was that he was also going to dabble in some anime. I mean, this anime has got fight scenes, it's got long stretches of dialogue. Of course, it's gotta be him. To be honest, Alya sometimes hides her feelings in Russian was an anime that I originally dismissed as a regular generic rom-com with a unique twist, until I saw the insanity that could transpire in just the pilot episode alone. Naturally, I knew I had to drop everything and check the show out immediately. Now yes, like I've said, this is a rom-com between two students, perfect school idol Alya and slacker yet secretly talented Masachika. The show does focus on their sweet moments, but like I've said, it suddenly drops insane scenes like this.
Hey, come on. Just stop squirming.
Or insane lines like these.
Second. They're probably just step-siblings, so it's not that big a deal if they shack up.
You take that back! It's only hot if they came from the same womb!
Yes. It was such a masculine claim. I was worried my ovaries would explode.
And it flips between the two so frequently that I feel like I'm watching an insane, horny version of Monty Python. And the best part is that most of the insanity comes from one person, and one person only.
Alya, Masha, you can feel yourselves rapidly becoming more unrestrained. With no inhibition, you'll gladly lay your minds and bodies bare before us all.
Oh god, it's her. Now you could be asking, what is the point of all this insane fan service? To which I answer with an answer from another question. What is the airspeed velocity of a European red finch? That's the name of the show! But insanity aside, the relationship between Masachika and Alya is pretty well done. They bounce off each other fine enough, and the relationship only grows as the two get closer to what is essentially the student council turned into freaking Game of Thrones. And this is coming from someone who hasn't seen a single episode of Game of Thrones. We'll get to that later because, first and foremost, this is a romantic comedy. It's fairly standard, except as you might guess, the female lead, Alya, sometimes hides her feelings for him in Russian. That's the name of the show times two! But our male lead, Masachika, can understand Russian due to his friendship with the Russian girl back in the old days, so he understands everything Alya is saying, and by proxy, we do too. So it flips the genre from a will they get together to a how will they get together, because the standard dramatic question has already been answered. Alya already has feelings for Kuze, or Masachika. It's like rewatching a rom-com and already knowing who the male lead ends up with, and it makes for a unique, entertaining watch minus the Quentin Tarantino feet scenes. But there is something else unique about this anime. From my watch, I see it exploring a theme of the duality of people, and it's consistent throughout. Alya has the figure of a cold, perfect princess who secretly expresses her love for a boy in Russian. Masachika acts as a regular high school kid who loves gacha games who can actually pull together projects quickly and is surprisingly good at reading people, which we get to see in action. Masha acts as the standard moe member of the student council with a cute dolls DLC package, who is revealed to really care about her younger sister, Alya. And Yuki acts as a dignified student council member who reveals herself to be a crafty otaku who isn't afraid to overdose opponents with prescription drugs if it means securing the title of student council president. Even that side is hidden from her own home, where she acts as an incestuous otaku for some reason. In fact, and this is where we'll start getting into some spoilers at the end, so this is going to be a warning, because I just need to talk about this, because I believe this show does a great job of setting up the larger scale antagonist, Yuki, and it does so in such a unique way. It frames her as one of the protagonists. We get to know her as if she's simply another main character in the show, providing some insanity to keep the audience entertained, and to act as a rival to the student council, because if there is one thing that Quentin Tarantino loves, it's dialogue. That's why the finale of this show is literally just the student council debate, and that's why the first 20 minutes of Inglourious Basterds are just people talking in a room. But it is considered to be one of the best scenes in cinema history, so he definitely knows what he's doing with dialogue. And thus, we lower our expectations with her. She's just the incestuous otaku member of a standard rom-com, a little twist, but alright. But throughout the show, we get bigger and bigger hints that underneath that facade is a ruthless, crafty leader who can manipulate people around her with the way that she speaks, which we also get to see some of it in the hypnosis scene. Her careful wording towards Alya and Masha is what causes the undressing to follow. But it isn't until the morphine overdose scene in episode 11, followed by the radio gambit in the finale, that we realize that we have been misled by our own expectations. Something was always strange about her, and we ignored pretty much all of it because all of our standards going into the show, despite us knowing from the pilot that this show was going to be even more insane, we just didn't think that it would manifest through an overdose, which in of itself is just part of a bigger plan to destroy her rival, Alya, in the student president vote. We truly realize the extent Yuki is willing to go to achieve victory, further enhanced by well-placed flashbacks and perspective of her at her grandfather's home, where we get to see how her grandfather places the expectation of being Masachika at everything he does because he's always shown so brightly in the past, and now it's time for Yuki to shine and to destroy him thanks to the family's divorce, with her mom unwilling or unable to do anything. All the clues to her being the big bad of the show were there. We just ignored all of it. I think we ignored all of the well-written family drama because we just considered it to be standard rom-com drama flair. We didn't realize that the show was feeding us motives for why Yuki would be willing to do so much for the election, and her history as a popular candidate for the student council president shows that she has the skills to do so, with us seeing a little bit outside such formal settings. And yet, Yuki managed to make sure to hide all of that with the facade of an incestuous otaku at home who seemed really into her literal biological brother having sex with her. That side of her shone so much that was all people talked about. We were blinded to the hidden depths that she was willing and did go to achieve her goals of becoming student council president. That is fantastic multi-layered writing that takes the audience's expectations thanks to the genre and flips it around and pulls us under the rug when we realize that all of those little things were acting as foreshadowing for her being the main antagonist of the entire show when it's revealed to us at the end. Now, was all this a deliberate writing choice, or have I been simply watching too much Black Mirror now that season 7 is out? To which I answer with another answer from another question. How much real dinosaur is in a plastic dinosaur? Why don't you go take it up with Randall Munro? Yes, I could be overanalyzing Yuki as a character, and in reality, the writers could have just written her as an incestuous otaku in the beginning, then realized the conflict needed to come from somewhere, and thus delegated that role to her in the last 2 episodes quite suddenly. And actually, now that I think about it, this anime may not be as deep as I thought. In reality, it may just be a simple rom-com that just answers to how will they get together rather than a world they get together, and there may not have been an actual exploration of the duality of people at all. That sentence ended a long time ago. But this anime is still fun regardless, thanks to the chemistry between Masachika and Alya, and the insanity of the student council, especially by Yuki. And they even managed to sneak in some really well-written family drama in the process. It was just as entertaining as everything else that I signed up for. Not only do I think I like rom-coms, but maybe even family dramas? You know what? That's it. I'm into family dramas. You want A24. I'm gonna watch Hereditary now, and you cannot stop me. I can't wait for season 2.